everyone, welcome to the First Time Homebuyer Seminar. This seminar is going to address the real estate process on the buyer's perspective. My name is Cjbaker and I'm a real estate broker with Keller Williams experience. And without further ado, we will get into the First Time Homebuyer Seminar. So let's begin. So there's 8 steps to owning a home. I'm going to go over these briefly and then we will go into more detail in the future slides. So step number 1 is we need to decide to buy. We need to determine if this is the right time to buy. Once we make that determination, the next step is to hire your agent. After you hire your agent, you're going to secure financing with your mortgage banker and get your pre-approval letter. Once you have that pre-approval letter, then we can start viewing property. Once you find the home that you like, then it's time to make an offer. And once you have a mutually agreed upon offer, we head to closing. And then finally, protect our investment. So, to get started, in order to determine if this is the right time to buy, you want to ask yourself a few important questions. Number 1, how stable is your life? You don't have to have the picture-perfect life working your dream job. However, you should be in a comfortable position. You should be comfortable with where you live currently and comfortable with where you're working. And most importantly, you want to be able to commit to living in the house that you buy for 5 or more years. And the reason why I say 5 years is because it typically takes 5 years for the appreciation to offset your closing costs. Now, when you go to sell, you're going to have certain closing costs. You're going to have to pay attorney fees, realtor commission, prorated taxes, and so forth. Those costs can make up 8 to 10% of the purchase price. So in order to offset that, you want to make sure that you're living in your house for a long enough period so that it increases in value enough to offset those costs. Otherwise, you could take a loss. Now, one of the reasons why I stress the importance of home ownership to the younger generation, people in their 20s and 30s, is because it is a great way to force yourself to save. And I think everyone in this room can agree that it is really hard to save right now, especially for renters. You know, after you pay your rent and your insurance and your car payments and for your children's school and food, what are you left over with? You have to be extremely structured and disciplined in order to save as a renter. As a homeowner, though, you're forcing yourself to save by 2 ways. One is through equity buildup. With each mortgage payment you make, a percentage of that mortgage is going towards your principal. And as you're paying down your principal, you're gaining equity. So you're building equity in your home month after month. You're also increasing your net worth through appreciation. Over time, your property is going to increase in value. And so through appreciation and the buildup of equity by paying down your principal, you are going to have a much higher net worth than you would as a renter. The other benefit is tax savings. As a homeowner, you can write off your mortgage interest. You can write off your property taxes. You can write off the square footage of the space that you use for an office if you're self-employed, and certain utility bills. You can defer the tax that you would pay on your profit when you go to sell your home if you use that money to reinvest in another piece of real estate. So there's certain tax benefits that you have as a homeowner. You also have the opportunity to create passive income. Let's say you purchase a home today, and 5 years from now, you're ready to upgrade into a newer, nicer, more expensive home. Well, you can do that 2 ways. One, you can sell your home to pay for your second home, or you can keep your first home and use the equity, the value that you've built up over that 5-year period, to use as your down payment. Now, if you keep that first home, you can rent it out and your tenant will be paying off your mortgage. So it's a great way to enable some passive income. Now, if you look at the financial net worth comparison according to the U.S. Federal Reserve Board of Consumer Finance, you will see that the average net worth of renters is just $4,000, while the average net worth of homeowners is $184,400. Now that's a drastic difference. And the reason is because as a renter, you're simply relying on what you have left over after you pay out your expenses. As a homeowner, you're forcing yourself to save through the equity buildup and the appreciation. Now, this is my last point on this subject, but this is a very clear example. If you took out a 30-year fixed interest rate mortgage for $150,000 and made monthly mortgage payments of $900, you would end up paying $324,000 over that 30-year period. Now, after the 30 years, you would end up owning a home worth approximately $364,000. You would have an asset of approximate value of $364,000, and that's assuming a conservative appreciation rate of just 3%. The appreciation rate in Chicago for last year was a little over 5%, just to give you an idea. Now compare that with renting. If you were to pay $900 per month for 30 years, assuming no rent hikes over 30 years, you would still end up paying $324,000, but own nothing. So you can see the difference between renting and being a homeowner. Now, once you have determined that this is the right time to buy for yourself, your first step, as I mentioned, is to hire an agent. Find an agent that you want to work with. And your agent performs 7 main roles, which include educating you about the market, analyzing your wants and needs, steering you to homes that fit your criteria, coordinate the work of other needed professionals, negotiate on your behalf, review paperwork and deadlines, and solve any problems that may arise. Now, I can't stress enough the importance of using a realtor as a buyer. Sometimes when I list property and I'm on the selling end, I get buyers that come to me and they ask, hey, can I save money on the value of the home if I'm not coming with the broker, if I buy directly through you? And the answer is no, because the commission is a set amount that is predetermined in the contract before the contract is signed. It's a predetermined amount between the seller and the seller's broker. So, if it's 5%, that means the seller's broker gets 2.5% and the buyer's broker gets 2.5%. Now, if you come directly to me and you want to have me represent you in addition to representing the seller, that is called dual agency. And sometimes the seller does not agree to that. So both parties have to agree to that. And even if they do agree to that, the commission in that case would still be predetermined in the contract for how much it would be in that case. Now, there is an advantage to signing a buyer's agreement. The buyer's agreement, it commits me to working with you and it commits you to working with me. So, one thing that we notice in this industry is a certain lack of loyalty. Without a buyer's agreement, you could call me to show you property on Wednesday. You could call Susan to show you property on Thursday. And you could call Realtor Bob to show you property on Friday. And then whichever realtor ends up closing the deal is the one that gets paid. But what a lot of people don't realize is that realtors don't get their expenses reimbursed. So we don't get our gas money reimbursed, or our parking, or our time. So we want to have an agreement with you which states that I'm going to be committed to helping you find your home and stay with you through the entire process, as long as you agree to work with me This contract can be terminated at any time, however. So if at any point you feel that you want to work with another realtor, you can terminate the contract and sign a contract with another realtor. Now, this is not something that is required, but any realtor that is professional and takes their job seriously usually wants their clients to sign this agreement. Now, in finding your home, you want to sit down with the decision makers in the process, and you want to find out what your needs are versus what your wants are. The needs is what we really take into consideration. So, for example, if you are needing 3 bedrooms, 2 baths in School District 181, then that is going to be our primary focus for you. If you want granite countertops, that is something that we can consider, but it's not going to be the primary thing that we're focused on, because you can always add granite countertops later. So we really focus on your needs. Now, when you start looking for property, what you look for in a home and what your agent looks for in the home are 2 different things. You as the buyer are going to focus on the layout, the space, a sense of value, convenience of location to work, schools, features and amenities. Your agent will be looking at it based more on a business decision. He or she will be looking at how well the home compares in terms of size, layout, and value to other homes in the area, as well as maintenance and structural concerns. So your agent is looking at this as a business deal. You are looking at it from a perspective of how well this home is going to accommodate your family's needs. These are some considerations that you may want to jot down when you're viewing property, and this pertains to condominiums and townhomes. But when you're looking for property, you want to find out answers to these questions. What are the association fees, and what do they cover? When you see that the association fee might be $500 a month, for instance, that may seem like a lot of money, but if that covers 80% of the utility costs, then that may not be so bad. So find out what it covers. Also, you want to find out how much money is on capital reserve. The capital reserve fund is how much cash the association has on hand in order to fund the special assessments. So if there's a very low amount, then they may be hitting up their residents for money when there's a special assessment. If there's a healthy capital reserve, then that will show you that the association has a stronger financial health, and you may not have to cover as much of the special assessments as you would if there was a lower amount on reserve. Now, you also want to look into what the association rules are. For instance, if you have visitors, where will they be parking? What are the pool hours, the gym hours, etc. Find out if there's any upcoming special assessments. The worst thing that could happen is if you purchase into a property, you're living there for 3 months, and then you get a bill for $1,000 to chip in for the new roof for the condominium. Now, if we know that ahead of time, we can work that into our negotiation and try to have the seller cover that. But if that's undiscovered, then you may end up having to eat that cost. And your realtor will be able to help you with some of these as well, but this is a good idea to have knowledge of it before you start the process. Find out if there's any active lawsuits against the property, or the management company, the association, or any of the homeowners. If there's a lawsuit, it could come out of the capital reserve money. Find out if the common areas are owned or use rights. So find out if your parking space is owned or if it's use right. Same goes with the storage, your balcony, etc. Now the next one is very important. If you plan on holding your property after you decide to move out and you want to hold on to it for that passive income as an investment, you want to make sure you're buying into a building that allows renters. If there's a rental cap, let's say of 30% for instance, then that means only 30% of the units can be rented at any given time. That could be problematic if you want to rent it out someday. Also, if there's an owner occupancy policy, then that means if you own the unit, you have to live there. So they don't allow renters. Those are two things you want to find out. Find out what the percentage of units are owner occupied. If there's a large percentage of renters in your building, then that may mean you're going to have to deal with excess noise, more people coming and going, new neighbors every couple years. So find out what the percentage of units are owner occupied, if that's important to you. The fee delinquency rate can be important when you're going to apply for a mortgage. If there's a high delinquency rate, that may affect your mortgage. And then also, what does the master insurance policy cover? Try to get yourself a copy of that insurance policy and find out exactly what it covers. Now, once you find the property that you like and you want to make an offer on, then it's time to work with your agent to come up with an offer. The offer is going to contain the price, terms, and contingencies. Now, before you suggest a price, your agent is going to perform a comparative market analysis. The comparative market analysis will look at recently sold properties that match a similar criteria of the home that you're looking to purchase. If the subject property is listed for a price 10% higher than what other homes are selling for in the area, then that will affect our offer. We'll offer a lower amount to get them in line with the market. However, if after completing the CMA, your realtor says that the price is in line with the market, then you're going to want to offer a price that is in line with the market. The terms apply to timing and the financial considerations. So, is it going to be a 45-day close? Is it going to be a close 2 months out? Is it going to be a cash offer? Is it going to be contingent on a mortgage, etc.? Now, when we look at the contingencies are conditions that allow you to opt out of the deal if the home has a problem. Common contingencies include mortgage contingency, inspection contingency. The inspection contingency makes it contingent on the home being in good physical health. If there's a major fundamental problem with the structure, for instance, it would allow you the opportunity to back out of the deal. Now, once you have a mutually agreed upon offer, it goes into attorney review. Now, the attorney review period lasts a total of 10 days. The buyer gets 5 business days for attorney review, and the seller gets 5 business days for attorney review. And during this time, you're going to perform due diligence. You're going to have your inspection done. The inspection will expose any major problems with the home. So, for instance, if there's anything that will affect the health or safety, if there is any with the structure or the foundation, those matters should be renegotiated into the offer. You're also going to get your homeowner's insurance policy, which protects against loss or damage. Finally, it's time for closing. The pre-closing responsibilities include the appraisal, the survey, your title search, and title insurance. It's also important during this time to be mortgage worthy, remain mortgage worthy, and that means you don't want to go out and buy new furniture or a new car during this process because that could affect your ability to get the mortgage. Also, you want to do a final walkthrough with your realtor. At the final walkthrough, you're going to look to make sure that the home is in the condition as promised and that everything is there as promised. And finally, the countdown to closing includes getting your settlement statement, certified funds, evidence of insurance, and transfer of clear title. So there you have it, guys. This is the process to buying a home. Hopefully this was able to provide you with a little bit more knowledge about the process. And the goal today is really just to help you be better informed so that you can make well-informed decisions. Now, I'll take any questions you have at the very end. But I just want to thank everyone for coming out today, and it's been a pleasure.